All right, so Don, do you want to talk a little bit about what we saw today at the State Board of Education rally, and then we'll...
Well, I guess I'll give a little introduction. We've had a lot of controversy recently ongoing controversy with the State Board of Education. They are injecting a lot of their own sort of ideology and religion into the textbook curriculum, and a lot of people are pretty upset about it. And today we had a rally down at the Texas State Capitol from 11 to 2 roughly, and we were there to have some good speeches and get people riled up and interested in that. We had about, I would say about 200 people out today. We wish we had more. We had some great speakers from American Atheists and some other groups, and a lot of folks were helping to educate us about some of the things that were being taken out of the textbooks, like Thomas Jefferson and Thurgood Marshall. Those are important people in our history, very important people who have made big contributions, and for some reason, kids in Texas aren't going to be learning about the importance of those folks.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out that while this event was put on by American Atheists, there were theists who showed up as well, because this isn't an atheist issue. It's not like, in much the same way that Camp Quest isn't trying to shove atheism or anti-religion down anybody's throat. Our issues with the State Board of Education is not that we want to teach atheism or atheist values, because there are no such things. I mean, it's a response position. There are no dogma, tenets, or anything else. It's not an ism, and atheism isn't even relevant to this. What we're talking about is a proper application of church-state separation. We're talking about teaching people the truth and not pushing an agenda. And I don't even have kids. One of the biggest reasons that I was out there to support it was that in the event that I do, I would like to have my kids receive an education in the public schools, if that's where they attend, that I'm already paying for, that is actually honest, that is about discovering the world that we live in, and not about pretending that we live in a different world or trying to hide reality from our kids. It's absolutely, it boggles my mind, some of the things that they're doing. And the big reason there's a concern this year, we've already had the creationism versus evolution fights that shouldn't have ever happened in the first place, but we had those issues. Now they've gone on and changed history standards. The State Board of Education elections are coming up. There are many seats that are up. Are they all up?
No.
About half.
Almost half, yeah.
And this new board are going to be presiding specifically over health standards. What are the standards that we teach in health classes in public schools? If you don't think this is critical, I don't know what to tell you. It's time for people who actually care about the future, who don't want to sacrifice our future, our kids' future, on the altar of ideology, to actually stand up, contact your representatives, get involved, find out who's running in the elections for the State Board of Education in your area, what they actually stand for, send them letters, encourage them to come out and actually discuss the issues and talk about what their position is, and find the people who are actually in favor of education and not indoctrination. I can't say any more than that.
Yeah, it is that simple. That we have a lot of folks on the school board who are trying to indoctrinate kids, and it's just completely irresponsible. And we have to do what we can, both in terms of public outcry and in the voting booth, to improve that situation.
And you touched upon health issues that are coming up. Mm-hmm. And Texas is #1 in the nation on multiple teen pregnancies. So this abstinence-only right-wing agenda that they have going on here is hurting our children. Yeah. And for them to say, oh, no, it's working, it's not. The statistics are talking for themselves. And it's scary. I have 2 children, and one is in public school. And to me, I'm quite frankly, I'm scared. I'm really scared.
There's it's not necessarily a sky is falling, but if you don't think this is important and if it doesn't make you nervous, I don't know what else to say. I mean, we're talking about what our kids are going to learn, and these are the people that are going to be taking care of us in our old age to some extent.
Well, or we'll have to take care of them. I mean,
yeah.
these are people who if you're having a teenage pregnancy, you're going to be dependent on your family or your community for support. There's no way about it. It's a very hard thing for a young parent to be doing. And if we can prevent that, if we can delay pregnancies through education, that's a good thing. Let's wait until people are a little stronger and a little able to do that, instead of being caught by caught with their pants down, so to speak. Getting pregnant when they're just being miseducated by our own school system. This just doesn't make any sense.
We were unable to actually get a camera out there today, or at least to record everything. We do have some of the footage, and there were a number of other people out there who recorded it. What I'm hoping to get is some footage from that. I'm sure it'll be available online. If you get a chance, go out and watch a couple of the speeches where it just, obviously Christopher Hitchens wrote something to be presented. David, is it Tyler, I believe, who writes for the American Atheist magazine, also gave a really good talk that was one of the best impassioned pleas to get people to care about what the State Board of Education is doing. Texas is the largest single adoption state in the nation. And so this handful of people that sit on our board and determine what the standards are going to be for Texas dictates what school book manufacturers produce in order to meet the Texas standards. And for a lot of smaller states that can't necessarily afford other options, they're going to get Texas books as well. And the nice thing is that there are grassroots movements around the country where people are saying, look, we don't want the Texas books. If Texas wants to screw up, they can screw themselves up. Now, with us living here, we have the opportunity to actually address these issues with our representatives, with the State Board of Education. By the way, none of them showed up today. I don't know if they don't care. I don't know if they just didn't know or are uninterested.
No, I'm pretty sure Kathleen invited them all.
I'm pretty sure that they were all invited as well. The important thing to note, though, is that in addition to today's rally, there's an additional rally this Wednesday, May 19th. You can go to tfn.org, Texas Freedom Network, which is tracking all of this stuff that's going on, and you can go on their website to actually register to testify before the State Board of Education on Wednesday at that rally.
So Amy, you were a speaker today. You were one of the people up there. Did you want to maybe do a little quick synopsis of what you were talking about, or is there a particular issue that you care a lot about that you?
There's a lot of issues.
Yeah. Okay.
The State Board has made it quite easy to have a long grocery list of issues. My biggest thing was Thomas Jefferson being taken out of the Enlightenment period and of the Founding Fathers.
Oh, yeah.
He was. I read through all the pages and I looked for him. I could not find him, and so for me, that's the hot button.
That's one of the big names I think of when I think of the Enlightenment, especially in the United States.
Yes.
It makes no sense to take him out of that.
Yeah, one would think that, and then the men that they replaced him with, Charles Carroll, for instance. You go to Wikipedia and there's literally 5 sentences about him, and they're taking out very important figures in our American history and replacing them with, people that really, I'm not saying they didn't make a difference, but their impact wasn't as large. And so that's devastating to me.
And it's my understanding that Jefferson in particular is contentious because the religious right is very much kind of against Jefferson because he was created this wall of separation between church and state, and this is one of our important founding principles of the United States. And he was also a bit anti-Christian. That wasn't his main thing by any means, but he's become kind of their boogeyman, I think, right?
I think so. I think they have to have an enemy, and they chose him, unfortunately.
That's just sad.
It is sad.
He's such a brilliant, amazing person, and I'm proud to have him as one of the founders.
Yes, absolutely.
And I have to agree. I think it was your husband that had the sign, "Where's Thomas Paine?"
Where's Thomas Paine?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's another important name that's just gotten trashed along the way.
Disappeared.
I'm a little more passionate about Paine because I had no idea who the hell Thomas Paine was until I actually escaped from my religious beliefs and began investigating the history of religion in this country as one of the subjects. Because we weren't taught about Thomas Paine in school. I mean, the guy who named the country, the guy who, along with Jefferson, was responsible for our revolution. And, by the way, the French Revolution. And yet you don't hear this. And why? It's because he also wrote a book called Common Sense that took religion to task.
No,
and
Age of Reason. He wrote Common Sense and
Common Sense was the first pamphlet, and then Age of Reason as well. That takes religion to task. And Jefferson isn't very popular because he had deistic views as opposed to Orthodox Christian views. Although I'm not even quite sure what Orthodox Christian views would have been acceptable at this point. So